and possible beast.
Every game.
But anyway, more important, I think if we look towards the positives though for FlyToMoon, it's the fact that you've had one game which was pretty much chalked out off the board. The second game, they actually, it showed us, okay, if we slot the Pangolier correctly, we can perform with it. We can play against the pressure, we can punish the mistakes. The question is, how often will those mistakes occur? So they need to they need to focus on that second win and work out how to fix that first 10 minutes, then I can see them being in a strong position.
Pango Oracle. You open up with that, suddenly you fix your laning stage versus the Grimstroke, you fix the problem of the Beastmaster, at least when it comes to Roar. That opening would be sick for them. I would love to see that Oracle.
I can agree with that. The only issue is, I think Beastmaster nowadays, even though the Roar is critical, it's still the fact that you have, it's the push potential. It allows your draft to be a little bit more brawly, and all your push is then centered around that one pick. They go for the Rubik instead.
Alright, Rubik is still fine.
Sure.
Here's the reasoning behind it. Alright, Troll on the other side. So, we have seen this lane before as well, but Rubik and Pango can fare well. Rubik can constantly pull like he did in that last game, buy those boots early on. However, why I really love Rubik is the Grimstroke. Every single spell that you steal from Grimstroke is really good on Rubik. It's better. And Stroke of Fate is probably 10 times better on Rubik. Not only do you deal more damage, not only do you have also range talent, but it has no cast animation. It's instant, and it isn't in that swerve. It's a constant line, and you dish out quite a lot of damage.
But let's see how FlyToMoon adjust this. They need to pick up. I would expect them to just go for like a position 5 here. Don't really reveal anything in the draft. They've already shown that Troll will be carry. Epileptic Kid will of course be playing this. FlyToMoon though, I think just match the team fight again. Like you want to be able to. You don't have that hard save, so you either go for that hard save or just try and continue in building up the team fight. That's how I'd approach this with my 5 pick.
I'm quite surprised they didn't go for the Beastmaster instead of Troll.
I'm a little bit, but maybe they fit it in later. Maybe they want to see a couple heroes, and then, gotcha.
I mean, I don't see the reasoning beside why pick your position 1 when the position 3 that you were about to pick is already pretty good. Yeah, you're picking it into Rubik, but versus Pango, it's great. With Grimstroke, you have a lot of synergy.
Yeah.
And instead of just getting it, and then perhaps picking Troll later versus an easier matchup, the Beastmaster just gets banned out instantly.
I think that if
they don't have that option.
The other way in terms of the drafting perspective, maybe you've got the fact that if you pick the Troll early, you can just cover it straight away with the Razor ban. It means, okay, I realised it's been banned out, the Beastmaster. They banned out the Beast. Don't know if we saw that already, but more important is the fact that so they pick the Troll, they then cover it instantly with the Razor ban, and it's like, okay, now we just get our solid Troll game that we want. We don't have to think about anything else, right? Like, think about the boss core, right? We've seen Epileptic Kid play very well on this Troll. Maybe they just want to have him on a strong hero. Undying, on the other hand, this is a woof from me, because like we don't see an offlaner right now. Normally, Undying is picked against those beefier boys. He wants to be able to own the lane. For example, you just go Oov to Tango South, you walk to lane, you use Decay, you push him out. The Mars, the Centaurs, the Underlords, these heroes hate playing against it. But they've shown nothing, and now Prodigy have Oracle Troll. They have a very strong lane. Grimstroke will now be position 4. I think this Undying will be very out of place very soon.
I mean, yeah, at the moment I saw it, I have no idea why the Undying is picked.
Your face says it all, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, the hell, man. Usually Undying is, right now, really good in the laning stage if he's against some strength hero, but that's not the case. You don't see it. Like T. Governor very well spoke about it. And the Oracle pick from VP Prodigy is decent. When it comes to obviously playing with a Troll, it's a really good combo. But not only that, you have a hero that can deal with the Fade Bolt in the lane. Basically, Fade Bolt also reduces your damage, which makes it a little bit harder to last it as a carry, and now you have that Oracle just purging it away instantly. Makes your life a bit easier.
Wow.
You're not allowed any attributes in this lane. We'll steal your strength, and we'll still... Okay, it's a good lane. I think even though they don't see the offlane, it does force the hand of Prodigy where they have to go, okay, so what are we actually picking here? We've got Grimstroke, and all the natural pairings are these strength heroes that aren't going to really be present in the lane. You can't go for maybe Yeah, they have actually put them into a very rough spot on what offlane to go. Potentially, you could go for a hero that just wants to skip the waves, and then you give up the Slarks and free farm, but then you at least have a farmed offlaner, maybe even some Axe type hero. But again, he gets worked by the Undying. So
yeah, you don't want Axe.
No,
definitely not.
My initial thought maybe could be some like Dazzle type hero before I saw Slark. You just put him in the offlane, he'll dominate the Undying.
There are some heroes that can deal with the Undying.
Maybe just a Puck actually, a casual Puck offlane.
Puck sounds alright as well. You get that leash, you get the magic damage initiation. There you go, that's something as well. It could be mid as well, so it's not straightforward offlane. The problem with Pugna though, usually when you're playing it, you want to have a hero that's beefy as your partner.
Enabling your presence within the lane.
You want to have your Shaker, perhaps your Undying, your Tusks, you know, you want these beefier heroes that will soak up all the aggression, all the damage while you do your work. So because of that, perhaps this Pugna is going to be their mid, and then their last pick, their offlane.
They just don't have, for sure, maybe. They don't have last pick though to fully utilize this pick, so I'm skeptical about the true ability to flex it, but I would prefer to see it mid, I'm sure, and I prefer to see an offlane and try and find a solution to how strong this lane is. The other thing that you could do is you could just put your offlane atop and then just do the Oracle, Grimstroke, Troll, tri-lane, put it into the Undying and the Slark. I know Undying naturally, Undying thrives in tri-lanes, but if you maybe get the first blood on him, maybe get that smoke play, get him out of lane early on, then you could actually you can
always work the lane.
Yeah,
you can always outplay them with either messing with lane equilibrium, but you're putting yourself in a bad position if you're rolling the tri-lane versus Undying. It's historically the hero that thrives.
Potential minimal average reward.
Yeah.
So what choices would you guys be making right now for either side coming into this last pick? I've stumped Tiga for once. He's not got an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm muted, mate.
Okay, on Prodigy, it depends. Puck is a good idea. It also could be their mid. Versus the Undying, there's also one strength hero that could work for them. That's also decent versus everyone else. That's the Clock. But versus Slark, it's not the best lane. Alright. On FlyToMoon, they do need their midder in the end. You could go for pretty much anything here that's that gives you that disable versus the Troll, something that put him under. You don't need necessarily your Playmaker for Iceberg because you do have that Slark.
I speak for the trees.
Alright. There's a bunch of trees to run around. You have a good combo with the Grimstroke as well. You have that Inkswell to use on the treants if necessary, if he is the offlane, but it could be your midder too. How do FlyToMoon answer this?
It's going to be a tough one for sure now. I guess the VP were lucky that they had a lot of reserve to focus on. The FlyToMoon, time's are ticking.
Yeah, if you think of... I mean, they go back to the Iceberg classics, that's it. They don't really stray out of his hero pool. They go with his normal possible heroes. They get the tiny... It gives them some catch. Dragonite actually wasn't banned out in this game, and I was thinking maybe that gives you the pace, that would give you the push as well. And it's good versus Furion, right?
I think the important thing though, I like the tiny picket. It can start the fight very quickly by blowing up that one hero. Pugna naturally doesn't really itemize to be tankier. You might go for like a casual Glimmer Cape, maybe to mitigate that magic damage burst, but it's the fact that this tiny, if he locates Grim, Oracle, or Pugna, they will always be dead at the start of a fight. You then pair that with the lack of lockdown, Slark just ripping through the backlines. I think when we see FlyToMoon on this Slark hero, V-Tune, he is a absolute god on this hero, and I think just the combinations that they have, you have to give respect to how strong this lane is on Undying Slark, even though there isn't that natural strength hero there. The Furion, it could be a good lane for him if he sends the trees out, annoys the Undying, but I think the Slark's going to get free farm, and as long as it's tiny, has a decent game, he will just be able to set the pace for every fight.
There's a lot of weight on Tiny's
100%. It's a lot of pressure.
Because if you look at the other side as well, this Slark won't have the easiest game as well. Once he gets on top of one target, you not only do you have Oracle to help out, you have Leash, and you have Pugna with the Crabfy. So there's many ways to disable them from actually taking one single target down.
But I think the important though for FlyToMoon, it's about the chaos that they can bring to a fight. You drop that tomb down, you have the Pangolier cutting through the Slark. Like there's so much noise in a fight right now. It's not a clean team fight where it's like we throw our stuns down, they're dead. It's we throw all our small spells out that you have to react to them, and then in that you then have the Tiny and the Slark just cutting through and just going to work. If I can even put my teeth in, it would help.
So even with FlyToMoon having to do a lot of heavy relying on this Tiny and Slark combo to come into play, you guys seem a bit more positive around them this time.
Yep, definitely. I think that they have picked this Tiny a couple of times so far, but in this game it looks like a pretty good Tiny game. So,
I'm in favor of FlyToMoon. I think the draft doesn't look like on paper. People probably be like, this draft's terrible. I can see the intricacies that could maybe push them through, and I'm hoping that they win, because if they do win, it's going to be really enjoyable in the way that they actually get the game.
What are we looking at win conditions for either side?
It's pretty much Slark control on both of these sides. That's it. V-Tune, obviously, as Steve Governor said before, Tiny has to be strong, but Slark is the one that actually carries the game for them.
Well, let's get straight into this game. Let's not mess about any further. It's time for Cinderin and Sunsfan to take over once again for the decider in this series.
Thank you very much. Sunsfan with Sind here. I have a question for you, but first we're going to see which bounty runes are taken. They're all taken, Cinder. It was a trick question. So,
damn.
Can you answer? I know I'm a divine one that recently downranked to Ancient 5, Cinder, so I'm a big noob, okay?
Okay.
This looks like the literal best Bloodseeker game I have ever seen for VPP if they had picked it.
In which
Do you
slot?
agree? You get double Rupture with Grimstroke. You have the synergy with Oracle ult, which is also good with Troll, obviously. You literally delete Pangolier as a hero. You counter Slark, and the attack speed is good for Tombstone.
So
this is
which slot should they have picked it in? Instead of the
Mid.
Nature's Prophet, you think?
Well, I mean, I'm a noob, so
It is a really good Bloodseeker game. I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's always about the chronology of the draft, right? Like what got picked in what slot. They picked Troll second. So if you wanted to replace the Troll, they needed to pick the Pango or the Bloodseeker into Pango Rubik as the only two heroes they know about. I don't think that's good enough to pick Bloodseeker. So he needed more info. So then you need to pick it in a later slot, which means it needs to replace Pugna or Nature's Prophet. I wouldn't have minded them picking Bloodseeker here. I think he could have been good as a later pick as well. I'm with you.
I was waiting for some next level knowledge. Put me in my place.
It is a good Bloodseeker game. He is. I mean, a counter argument is Bloodseeker struggles a little bit with getting burst early on. Tiny is good at that. Rubik has some decent damage, but I still think it could have definitely been an option. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cinder, and it's so nice of you to agree with me for once. Appreciate that. We are going to see the V-Tune Slark, and again, his items are all queued up and ready to go. I wonder if he's using a guide. Do you do that? Do pros do that? Do they make their own guides and just have everything in the shop ready to go to queue up?
I think some might, actually.
Pango dies to the top lane. Wow, this is a super early death. That's a little surprising.
Ran him down with Fortune's End plus the Whirling Axis. Troll was level 2. And, yeah. Level 2 Pango doesn't have much in the way of escaping. Like, you have the Swashbuckle only, but it's a really long cooldown, 20 seconds. If you get caught by a Fortune's End while it's on cooldown, or even in a bad spot like this one in the trees, it's not even necessarily going to save you. So, a bit of a tough start there for him, as they have pulled a big wave with Rubik. He's going to get all of this experience. Pango, oh my god, if he gets a return kill here, he actually will.
A lot of damage. Nicely done with a Swashbuckle, able to get the extra proc, and that was actually the difference, going right through him. Nice little trick. Of course, it can be difficult to pull off, especially this early in the game without any boots or anything like that. So
General is a very capable Pango player. He is very, very good.
Apparently. I mean, he buys Maelstrom. How can he not trust him? Undying. Okay.
Suicide to the tower. He wants a refill.
Tower.
Come back down bot. This is not a very good Undying lane, by the way. Grimstroke plus Pugna. 2 ranged heroes that aren't strength-based. They hit pretty hard, both of them. There's a lot of turnaround potential. If you get too aggressive, you can always get caught by the Inkswell. So you spam out your decays, give your slug creeps, and then you suicide to the tower. Rinse and repeat.
Oh, we got the avalanche toss from Iceberg. I love tiny mid by this. It's going to be really exciting. I think the panel is exactly right on that. FN's just going to TP out, and it will be to base because he has his teleportation ability, of course. So we'll be back very shortly. That's the one benefit, of course. One of the many benefits of playing the Nature's Prophet there. General in the top lane, again, just trying to pull these lanes to his favor so he can get a little bit of experience because he's getting bullied pretty hard here. Aloha Dance forced to TP to help now. But Epileptic, 15 and 5 in the CS department versus, I guess, the Slark on the other side, 16 and 3. So overall, pretty even. Inkswell bottom lane, always want to fly. Soul Rip does heal him up a healthy amount, and will live as a result. V-Tune, what in the butt? Okay, he lives. Very greedy though. Grimstroke misses his nuke there.
Crazy greedy. So this lane bot gets really dangerous when Pugna reaches level 4 and Grim reaches level 4. I'm assuming they're both. I'm assuming they're both going to be skilling their second spell on level 4. So you can Decrepify into Phantom's Embrace on a target. It locks them in silence and disarm. So you can't break the Decrepify, and you can't break the bug, or whatever you want to call it, the wife of Grimstroke. That's the lore. I didn't make it.
I have to check on that one.
Honestly, a pretty good advice for real life. If you're angry at someone, just throw your wife at them. It generally works. They'll be silenced pretty quickly by that.
Aloha Dance ended up getting a courier. We'll get a bounty rune as well. And we'll TP out. Very nicely done for him. But in the meantime, Decrepify was used on Undying. Amplifies that damage coming out from save, and they're able to take another kill in the spot lane.
Or Ink. He's thinking about it. I think both choices are good. It depends what kind of play they're looking for. The silence is really good against Slark, though. If you time it well, if he doesn't pact off the Decrep, then he's just stuck in this permanent silence, basically. Yeah, they can't really deal with. Yeah, they are going to skill it. Good. And they've brought Oracle down. They're going to try to overwhelm them here.
Well, we'll see how that works out for them. Save is a lot of mana to work with now. We'll get the nuke off. V-Tune taunting away. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Sinner, but the Slark taunt, despite being one of the most popular taunts used in Dota 2 today, has the worst uptime of any taunt in the game. Very bad. It's very short.
Maybe you should focus on playing the game better so you could rank up. I think focusing on taunts is a really good shortcut to dropping to Ancient.
You know,
it's not really what wins games.
It's funny that you say that because I don't taunt at all during the game. I always forget. As he's able to dark.
Well, then you're wasting your time even more. That's even worse. You're studying it and not using your knowledge for anything.
It's not knowledge, though. That is not knowledge. It's trivia. People like trivia questions, okay?
Right.
Now this tower is going to get pressured a little bit here from VPP. And Slark is going to dark pack that off. We'll pounce to safety.
Draining his raindrops one at a time here. So
yep, 3 charges left. General, I mean, he's kind of happy with this rotation, despite, I mean, Troll can kind of bully him a bit, but it's not nearly as bad as before. So he's able to get at least a little bit of experience now, or a good amount, I should say. And in fact, if you look at the CS, he's tied with Slark. So that ain't good for Slark, that's for sure. Well, Inkswell will connect onto Undying, as General is able to get a kill thanks to the rotation from Aloha Dance. We're just talking about how he can technically survive. Well, he can technically get a kill with a little bit of help. And DM just forcing everybody out of this lane. I mean, Pugna's got to be one of the most annoying heroes to deal with when he starts to get these levels. 3 levels in Nether Blast, of course, will not only push waves, take out the tower in quick succession as well. Man, look at the damage here. Always want to fly. Just taking it to the face. Only has 8 decay stacks.
I was just waiting for this. There has to be a moment for Nature's Prophet to get more involved now. He's going top on General. Has the stick charges. Not enough.
General will go down as a result. Actually had kind of a choice between the 2 lanes, but...
Yeah, I thought Furin might make the bottom move. Dive the Undying and get the tower. In my opinion, that's his next play on the map. Is you push it out mid, you get mana, and then you look to get down to business bottom before Slark hits 6, kill him off, get his tower, limit his space on the map. I think FN, compared to other Nature's Prophets mid, he's been rotating relatively little this game. I know it's only 8 minutes in, but other Nature's Prophets basically gank off cooldown. You know, every time teleport's ready, you just make a move. You can always put somebody else in this mid lane, like plant your Oracle there to get levels or whatever you want.
Ooh, they're going to attempt to gank him.
Here in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing relatively well, but the Tiny is 67 and 14 in terms of
it's a really good lane.
CS. Top in net worth right now. What in God's name is the build these days on a mid Tinies? We're going to see a little action here. Oracle brought down at half HP, but General will probably be forced out by Epileptic Kid.
Guess I'm thinking he's probably going to go. So he'll go Mask of Madness first. I think that's pretty stable. Most Tinies will do this as core. You cast your spells, you mom, and you just run people down with your tree. Sometimes you could see a dagger. Sometimes you see just hardcore damage with like crit.
Do people still go the... Yeah, he's going to get rolled on here.
He is super toast.
Repeatedly, and will be brought down as a result. Do people still go the status resistance on Tiny? Like the S and Y into like Satanic later on? Obviously a little bit of damage in between.
It's a possibility this game. I think status resistance is really good against the Dire lineup here. Against Pugna, it's nice. Against Grimstroke, it's nice.
Oof. V-Tune has to take off that Phantom's Embrace manually. Oracle in the meantime in the top lane probably will not be so lucky. The Mask of Madness being shown here. And the Avalanche is more than enough with that tree toss. So yeah, Iceberg is off to an absolutely incredible start. Epileptic Kid.
Oh, they're even showing the ward.
They're able to take out this outpost. And that is a double outpost for VPP. So that's a good, clean amount of experience for them. By the way, did they fix... Oh, get back to that in just a moment as Undying will die. Did they fix Royal Jelly? I saw a post about that not giving any regen. I don't know if that's actually the case. I didn't see any notes on fixes, though.
That would be pretty surprising to me because Dota doesn't have bugs.
It's not in beta anymore, Cinder. It's true. Well, Epileptic, Kid, DM, and Stave are all grouping up in the bot lane. This is going to be a freebie for them, and I think they can TP back to this tier 1 to defend against this grouping from FlyToMoon. General does have Rolling Thunder available. FN has to be careful here. Does have the support of DM, of course. A lot of these treants just being taken out really fast by Iceberg. That tree is pretty freaking good at doing that. It's also pretty freaking good at taking towers because that siege damage. And he's just doing it all by his lonesome. So no defense whatsoever from VPP. Not feeling confident taking this fight at all.
Tiny is really strong right now. You got to be very cautious with how you approach this. Like the panel talked about, there's some easy targets for him. There's plenty of heroes he just blows up. Like 4 of these Radiant heroes, until Nature's Prophet starts bulking up, they're very susceptible to just getting comboed with one Swashbuckle or a Fate Bolt on top. So being really careful there, and really nice from FlyToMoon to identify that they can go for this push. It looks easier than it is to just call this, okay, let's just take mid tower, minute 10. You know, like, what are they going to do? They pulled it off. Tried it for the bot. Pretty good trade. And Slark is getting some good space now. Both carries really, at this point, will be... It'll be pretty peaceful for both of them, I think. Everybody else will be brawling a lot. Nature's Prophet wants to get involved. Pango wants to get involved. Tiny wants to make moves. Yeah. So there will be fighting. And Troll has a tendency of farming a little bit faster than Slark when he gets the Battle Fury. But until then, it's pretty even.
Yeah, we'll be going to Battle Fury. Tiny did pick up a Yasha, so it could be SNY, could be Manta. What would you prefer this game? I mean, Manta would... It's not the most typical item, but if you need to take something off in terms of Dispel, as we'll talk about that in just a moment. As Always Wanna Fly is going to get ganked. And nicely done here from VPP. In the top lane, it's going to be the counter gank. See this so often, just the mirrored ganks, essentially. DM is completely alone. Looks like he's going to be fine, though. Just walks into the trees. No more catch.
Just run away. Yeah, there's a Pugna, even with the move speed changes, is obviously still a super fast hero. So 400 move speed with
taking out a nice ancient stack, by the way. Actually used his ult to take this out as fast as possible.
It's getting pinged out now. Like, wait, where are I?
Yeah, that was. I think that was a triple stack, if I'm not mistaken. But about 1,000 away from finishing Battle Fury for himself. Slark still working on his defusal. But General pretty low on mana here. Still going for that same build. I love this man. Maelstrom again, but into what? So first game he went, what did he go before Ags after Maelstrom? The second game he went Force Staff. Oh, he went Halberd, right? So he's kind of switched up that second item every game. So I'm expecting something completely random. Close his eyes, pick something, anything.
I'm trying to think about what the best one is here. He went the Halberd specifically against Troll. I'm wondering if he wants to do it again, or if he's like, okay, I can carry again. You know, it is a really good Pango game, except for the Grimstroke ult. So if they play their positioning well in the fights and don't get soulbound together with Slark, for example, you can do so much with an Axe in this game as well, I think. Let's see what the plan is. He's not queuing anything up yet.
How does Pugna Life Drain work in Grimstroke Soulbind? Do you know?
You just drain them both. And then, unless it's changed, the guy you don't target is the one whose life drain breaks. So, okay, this is a bit weird. Let's say you target two guys, and you target a close guy, and then the secondary autocast is on a guy far away. If he outranges your life drain, it cancels on both heroes, I think.
Oh, interesting.
But it's specifically, yeah, it's a bit weird. The dominant one or something is the far one. It's pretty funny. I remember testing.
As Pugna getting ganked here, General setting it up with the Rolling Thunder, and Iceberg will take it for himself.
General seems to just find multiple of these like really good locations every game. He knows the map super well on Pango. He always plays these tight corners where he can get double, triple, quad stuns on Rolling Thunder, and doesn't hesitate to go for it when he gets the opportunity. I can understand why they picked this hero with such a high rating.
Yep. Oh, always want to fly. Gets the tombstone on the cliff. He was trying to deward. I mean, I guess he did, but it'll be dewarded again, and we'll die as a result of that. So it was an SNY for Iceberg, and we'll be going AC now. So this is kind of like there was a build almost a year ago that kind of started. I can't remember how long ago they changed the tree throw, or that skill to be just a constant thing. But I've liked Tiny a lot more since then, for sure.
He's in trouble.
Taking a lot of damage. The toss will finish him off, but Iceberg is going to take the brunt of the pressure now as this is turned into a 3v1. Soulbind onto him alone. General has to be careful, does not want to run into him. Waits for it to run out. They're actually going to get a kill off the bat. So a 1-for-1. Epileptic Kid already used his ultimate, so will not find it. And Avalanche is going to help get yet another kill for Iceberg. So they turn this around, a 1-for-3 in the end, despite losing the Rubik first.
He is so tanky on that Tiny. Troll absolutely needed to get a root with Battle Trance, but he didn't get one. I think he got 3 hits off, didn't get a root, and then Iceberg reset the position. General waited out the entire Soulbind, which doesn't last. I believe it's fully affected by status resistance, right? So that was 20% shorter on the Tiny with his SNY. General comes in, and it just becomes really easy for them.
How does it work if you're the secondary target with status resist on a Soulbind?
Then I think it's full duration
here.
I'm actually not sure.
I have to test that one sometime.
I'm not completely sure if it even affects status resistance in general, but I'm pretty close to certain it does. But yeah, with secondary targets and stuff, good question.
Thank you, Synderin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I just want positive feedback for my trivia / mechanic questions. Well, FlyToMoon is going to take out a good part of the jungle here from VPP, who are not feeling too confident going up this cliff. And again, a lot of it has to do with not seeing where the Tiny is. Of course, he's not there at the moment, but does have the Hyperstone now, going towards that AC that we talked about. So mega farm, like he is over 2,000 net worth over the Troll Warlord at this point. His General, bot lane, pops the haste, will be good to go. Could turn this back around if he really wants, but has absolutely 0 teammates with him.
And this is a good drawing on the map from Iceberg. I mean, it's not, like, the drawing itself isn't good, but the idea is good.
Mona Lisa, yeah.
Get them in on the top tower. You know the enemy team is in your jungle bot. You know you have the tower push available with Tiniest really fast at it. You have very well set up top with a ward. Slark is in good position. He probably thinks twice about going to hit the mid tower because he's lacking information. If they had any ward in their own jungle bot, he would be going to hit this tier 2. But at the very least, they'll go for the top tower, keep pushing in mid, and see when they want to make their own move. There is a smoke ready on the Rubik. Anytime they want to try for it, they could try to chase down there. Slark with a defusal is ready. Yeah. Pango is queuing up the Ags. I don't know if you mentioned it. He's going to go straight Ags this time.
Oh, straight Ags this time. Wow, what a pleasure this has been. Boy, oh boy. I feel like if you're... I mean, the good thing about that is it essentially ends up aligning with your level 15, right? Because a lot of times if you're going the mid Pango build, that's your 3rd item at best. Sometimes it's your 4th, but that's like by the time you're level 20 or like 18, so you've had that 15 talent for quite a while, so... That is the one benefit. So not going for any type of utility, which you know me, I'm a greedy boy. So I like it.
I know you're a sucker for the damage Pango build, but I mean, when it works for General, why would he change it, right? If it worked super well last game, he did tons of damage, had a huge impact on the game. And at the rate this game is played out and how slow the towers are being taken, I don't know if he needs any value item right now. Like there's no, it doesn't seem like they're under any pressure.
His value item's a clumsy net, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, he got that for free. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a solid item. It's a little bit slower in casting than it used to be, but he'll live through the day. I think it's actually a bit overrated on Pango, but that's because I don't play Pango as a utility. So, Slark looking for FNC here. He will start it off, but the TP out will be canceled. Does he have time to do another one? He's going to sprout up. Quelling Blade is there.
He stole Sprout for vision.
Actually stuck inside there. Wow. Oh, that was what the hell? That was a stolen Sprout. What in the world? Another Sprout comes in, but it looks like he will find the kill.
I mean, that ended up working out, but that Sprout from Aloha Dance was...
That was very sloppy. We're going to have a little bit of engagement here. Save. Dying to the zombies. Looks like he will barely get out. And that'll break up this fight completely.
Man, VP Prodigy are just not the same team in game 2 and 3 to every other game I've seen them play. I don't know if this last game broke them, if they got a little bit too creative, or if FlyToMoon just really stepped it up, but they are just being crushed.
I mean, it's the Windrunner, right? You pick Windrunner, you just lose the series. Not even just that game. It's over. I mean, they can still come back in this game. I mean, that's the thing. They have the Grimstroke ult, which is very powerful, but like, how good is the double Wrath of Nature? Would you say that's even something to write home about? Like, what is their wombo combo potential with that Soulbind? It's obviously good against the Pangolier if you're able to set it up correctly, but is there a damage spell on top of that?
It's not great. It's really not great. You have, 2 Fury ultis. I mean, 2 Purifying Flames, but do you really want to count that? I don't think so. Double Life Drain is nice.
This is where you got to buy Dagon, right?
I mean, Pugna should probably get that as an item this game. They need damage. I'm trying to think about what the primary thing that has changed in Prodigy's drafts has been that has really affected them. And the best conclusion I'm coming to is that they're just not utilizing DM in the same way. In game number 1, when he had the Mars, he was really the playmaker, frontlining, finding moves, having the stun. And now in these previous 2 games, he's been playing Pugna and Timbersaw, respectively, which doesn't really have the same playmaking potential in the same way, at least, that they might be a bit used to playing around. So I don't know. I mean, they obviously couldn't get the Mars all 3 games, but this game they could have, for example, picked an Axe as a possibility.
Would you say that VPP games that we've cast before, that DM was on that same level that he was playing in the Mars?
Oh, he's in trouble.
Yeah, Pango, all right. It's going to get saved there for the time being as the Soulbind does come out. They're going to get a double silence, but it looks like DM might fall to... No, he's going to get fully healed thanks to that Life Leech. General comes in, missing his ult completely, though. And does this mean they need to fall back? The ult is popped by Troll Warlord, but he is all alone right now. He's completely isolated, but everybody on VPP is extremely low in the meantime. Pango will get out. No, he will die, actually. So it's a 3-for-1. Pugna barely died there in that engagement. Is saved. Now attempting to get out of dodge. Epileptic Kid doing some more damage, and Iceberg is going to get surrounded here. It's going to be really close. They're going to trade lives, though. So it's a 4-for-3 with the buyback onto the Oracle. And that was just the Aegis, but he doesn't have a tree to equip quite yet. Of course, it doesn't really matter because he is disarmed anyway. Sprouted up now.
He's quelling in the backpack.
Yeah, that's
he didn't swap it in.
That is very unfortunate. So he's stuck in there for quite a while, but Slark right now has a decent amount of agility still. He's going to take out Oracle. It looks like that is a dieback on that hero. They're going to help each other out, take off that silence. The tower just one hit away, and they will find it. And the Mask of Madness is popped. Can they stop this? They have Decrepify, they have Sprout. Of course, with that S and Y, it's going to be a little bit less in duration. Always want to fly. Really can't do much to help here, so they're going to be happy with that tower.
Mess. Like, what actually happened? So the way they initiated to begin with, like you said, the Pango kind of hit nothing. They dove in behind the tower into a Pugna that was being full healed by the Oracle ulti, and they still end up barely winning the fight in the end. Just goes to show how far ahead they are. I think the saving grace in a way for FlyToMoon there was that there was a flat out full duration tombstone that never got addressed, and it just kept building up. So they kind of end up stabilizing, and they, in the end, they do come out winners. They get the tier 3 tower, they force a buyback or two, they do gain a little more gold. So, but that was,
imagine
by
a
no means
Bloodseeker
clean.
Cinderin in these long engagements.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice, huh?
Tasty treat. FlyToMoon's going to smoke up. There's a defusal onto the Pugna. DM's in a lot of trouble. Has really no mana to speak of. Does Decrepify, but remember, Iceberg does both physical and magical damage, and they're going to find him very easily.
And they got save as well.
And yeah, they're going to get the Grimstroke. So Iceberg actually going deep into the base. He's going to get a toss off onto the Oracles at half HP. Look at that range. He could throw his tree, but he's silenced thanks to the Massive Madness. And False Promise is used on Oracle himself. That is not something you want to see. Although he did just die back previously, so he kind of does need to live. But now they know that ult is down, this should be a free Rax. I mean, Troll Warlord, where is he? Oh, he's back in the base. The Pango's not there. Question is, do they even need him? Slark getting healed up. Yeah, they're going to find that melee Rax, and it's essentially a freebie. If they can get perhaps an exit kill. No, they're not even going to try. So FlyToMoon, it's their game to lose right now. They're in complete control of this game. I mean, something that you could do for VPP to try to combo with this Soulbind is get a Sheep Stick eventually as well, but it feels like it's just so far away from anything that really does
FN is
for that combo.
Very low farmed for a core Fury on this game. I'm not sure how comfortable he is playing this hero in general, but I just think the way that VP Prodigy has played the map, there's 200 CS on Furion minute 26 when you're the mid Furion is not very much unless others in your team are taking a lot, but they aren't really. Pugna's 120, Troll has 200 as well. So probably hasn't been able to play the map as effectively as he wants, mainly out of fear for the Slark.
Shadow Blade. All right, BKB is forced.
Look it out.
That was the 10-second BKB, by the way. Never feels good to have to do that, but like you said, he does need to catch up on farm. Yep, Avalanche and the net.
Just the butterfly on Tiny. He is so tanky.
Yeah, he actually did build the butterfly, so takes apart his Mask of Madness. Here comes the Pango. We're seeing the double life rate from DM. It's pretty good, actually. They're able to stay in range, so it's a 2-for-1 to start this fight, and that's Nature's Prophet wasn't even here to begin with. But they do lose the Grimstroke to follow now. An Epileptic Kid left to his own devices, completely surrounded, is pounced, and will be brought down eventually. And DM, the last remaining member of VP, looks like he'll be surrounded by General and no stun to follow. So a nice little circle there. So and yeah, they don't even have tier 1's bot yet, so they might just push this.
They did get the Tiny there, and that fight actually looked promising. But they had to commit absolutely everything to it. And Slark just kept building up. And Rubik eventually connected with the fight. So, yeah, you kill this Tiny, but his effective physical HP right now is almost 10,000. Like, he has 3,200 health and 74% physical resist. So it's really only the spells that do anything to him. I think slightly different itemization from Iceberg could actually make him invincible. I don't think this Butterfly was needed at all. He already has attack speed from Quiras, Treads, as well as Sanjin Yasha. So he could have bought a BKB, he could have bought, I don't know, Satanic instead of that, and probably just flat up been invincible. So I'm not sure I like the butter that much here, but it's fine.
Yeah, Satanic.
He has a buffer, a big buffer still.
Yep, I kind of agree. I mean, it feels like Butterfly for tiny builds like this is usually not something you get until like a 5th item, I want to say.
It can be
Kinda
really
rushed
good
a
in
bit.
this slot. It's just I don't think it solves the potential issues he has in the game, right? The only physical problem is Troll, and he's not strong enough yet. So you don't need to solve that
Pugna
problem.
is on the cliff, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but they gets the double life drain still, and they're able to find 2 kills.
What the hell?
The range on
This
that
is
was
so
pretty
weird,
impressive.
this game. What is going on?
They're just playing without their tiny.
King
Their
of
tiny
the
is like
hill.
the whole game right now.
Cliff him into the double suck, and you're
Oh,
fine.
epileptic. They still want to fight. The BKB is popped by VTune. And here comes the Pango with the Rolling Thunder. Iceberg getting off a couple right clicks. I think they're regretting this. This is a weird fight.
3-on-5
Really
under
weird
the enemy
initiation.
tower.
Yeah.
They're gonna hunt them
Very
down.
strange.
Their catch is limited. Furon could teleport and try to pincer them, but doesn't look
Nah,
like
they
they're
went the wrong
confident
way.
enough to do it. Yeah, the other heroes are spawning now on FlyToMoon, so it's by no means a safe teleport here.
Now, Roshan will know very shortly when he can spawn. And that'll probably be... I mean, if FlyToMoon get that again, I think that is minimum a 2nd Rex, if not game. It's going to be very close.
You have to fight.
How's the Roche fights, though? Yeah, how are the Roche fights this game for each respective team if they get caught off guard?
I always love Undying and Pango in that area, right? Like any sort of zone control is really strong at Roche Pit. Tombstone's good, Pango's good. On the other side, you're way more reliant on finding a good attack angle. Like it feels like if you just run at the enemy team, nobody really just does that, right? But imagine 2 teams clash into each other. Like the VP lineup has a lot of limitations with how they can actually catch someone and start the fight. So I think they need to try to pincer and flank and find especially the Rubik has been a really good kill for them. Get the Rubik and the Undying out of the picture as soon as possible and don't go on the course.
What are your thoughts on the Silver Edge, by the way?
My thoughts are
Clark.
somebody's about to die.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Ein might have to false promise himself again. Nope, he's going to get telekinesed into a swift death. Looks like everybody else should get out, though.
You're really happy with that if you're VP Prodigy. That could have been the
Yeah,
end of the
for
game.
sure.
You escaped fully except for the position 5.
It still might be the end of the game.
Well, they've
But
opened
yeah.
up the area now for FlyToMoon, so now they can play map control up here and wait for the next Roche, which is spawning in now, as FlyToMoon will find out, or always want to fly for FlyToMoon. will find out.
Yes. There he goes. He sees it, and he walks away immediately. Silver Edge doesn't reduce regen anymore. It only did that for a month, of course, for those keeping track.
Does break Fervor,
does
though,
disable
right?
Fervor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fervor is pretty strong. How long does it break for, actually? I forgot. It's like 4 seconds. It's not even that long, actually. 4 seconds. Yep, that's what I thought.
Close enough. It lost 20%, right? So we're there.
Yeah, that's everything lost 20%. That just wasn't in the patch notes. That was a typo.
Roche is dead. I think you put the
Yep.
cheese on Tiny. They actually give him the Aegis and the cheese to Slark. Okay.
It's a little
fine.
surprising, considering the status resist. You have time to pop cheese. And
Yeah, I feel like he has enough buffer to get cheese off on Tiny in any situation in this game right now. They don't have enough stuns to lock him down. But the counter argument here is by putting Aegis on Tiny, you have it on the guy who's going to siege high ground, right? So you get the safety when he wants to go and hit towers. Did we mention he got the Titan Sliver, by the way?
I was
think
just
this
about
is
to say that.
the best
That is
hero in the
best
game to
hero.
get this item on. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
for
crazy
sure.
good on him. 16% base attack damage is a lot on Tiny.
Indeed.
Loves the magic and status line. This S tier item for this hero. This game is so
S plus tier, some would
S
say.
plus.
As Grimstroke is brought to the ground. And, I mean, this is an 18k net worth lead for FlyToMoon.
about to
Going to
possibly
be
be
an ult
more.
here from Troll Warlord. He's going to get Yulesed up. That's actually
Oh.
the buy on Pango after all that, but he gets decimated by Epileptic Kid and FN, who is here to join the party, who now has a Bloodthorn, by the way.
The guy initiating the move did not get back up, and the guy who got jumped had a Furion. So
Yeah, it happens.
that's
But it might cost them a bit.
no bash.
Never mind. Yeah, no Basher.
There's a pretty good
That might be
argument to be
next.
made for going Basher this game on Slark over Silver Edge. I don't know if the break has enough value compared to just having a Shadow Blade into Basher, because Bash is obviously awesome against Troll. It counters the Sheer and BKB TP out that he's fallen victim to 2 or 3 times now. So I would have liked to see a Basher over that.
Yep, I agree. I don't think Silver... I mean, I feel like the Fervor, taking off Fervor for 4 seconds, it's cool in theory, but I mean, in practice, have we really even seen that matter at all? It seems situational at best, considering... Like, it's usually really good if you have at least 2 or 3 heroes that have a passive that you can...
Oh, Pugna. You don't want to get caught in Pugna.
Soulbind is there, in addition to the ult from Oracle. Looks like they're going to find the Grimstroke right away. He buys back instantly, and this could be the final fight of the game, potentially. Epileptic does a nice job of taking out the Tombstone. He's going to focus his right clicks onto Slark, who's just going to pop that ult. No mana to speak of whatsoever on poor Troll here.
40
now
stacks.
surrounded
41 too.
Closely here.